Hi, welcome to House of Nova Insights. It's Liz, the Lighthouse Keeper of this space. And in today's video, we're going to go over the who, the what, and the why that created House of Nova Insights. HONI is my home sweet home, my safe landing, and it is the place where I can enjoy and express what fulfills me after years of abandonment. Now, I fought really hard and had to deal with unaligned connections and partnerships, and it took a while, but we got here, and I was able to create a container that is able to hold all of me, and I hope it translates to people who come over and explore what HONI is and what HONI has to offer, and they can feel like the same thing, a soft landing. They don't have to prepare for impact. And beyond just seeing themselves in the content that I create here, I hope that they see themselves in the overall vision that what I can do, they can do as well. Okay, we started off with painful truths and experiences that nearly took my ass out, okay? And I ultimately learned that those are the consequences of self-abandonment. It taught me that my emotional truth needed to be expressed, it needed to be nurtured, and it needed to be protected. And while I couldn't find that in the environment around me because there was no space and the people around me didn't know how to hold me, I learned that it was ultimately my responsibility to cultivate something that can handle what I needed. There has been so many incarnations of this brand because as I'm learning or rediscovering myself, there's new things to express, new things to show about myself. And the journey was a little difficult because people would tell you or would tell me, focus on one thing. And I'm like, I can't do that. I don't even do that in real life. So I don't know how to do that with this. And on top of that, there was just these concepts of hacking the algorithm. And I was just like, you know what? That's just slowing my ass down. So I ended up shutting out all the noise, stopped listening to people. And that's where the download came in, where ultimately I was able to create what we see as HONI. So when I started off my branding journey, I knew that I wanted to make sure it was very intentional. And my spirit called to use my last name, partly because it's so famous. Every time when I tell people hey, my name is Elizabeth Casanova, the first thing that they'll say is, hey, DJ Casanova. Or they'll mention the bird, they'll mention the song, they'll mention the womanizer, Giacomo Casanova. And I'm just like, okay, well, let's just go with it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it's part of my lineage too, so it's symbolic. And as a New York Rican, I got a little Spanish flavor in me. And I saw that my last name was compartmentalized with two words. The first one is casa, which is translated in English to house. And the second part is nova. And that translates from Latin to new. And while, yes, it would be like a new house, I saw nova in regards to the star. So back in the day, ancient astrologers and astronomers, they looked up at the sky and they saw what was once an empty part of the sky, a brand new star that just was bright as hell. They're like, what the hell? So they called it a nova because it was a new star. But what was actually happening was that there was already a star up in that sky. It's just something happens where its luminance becomes really bright over time. And, I felt like that was very symbolic to my own personal journey because I'm like, well, a sis was always here, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't visible because of self-abandonment and all that stuff. So I was like, you know what? Let me keep it as Nova. And because I'm referencing the star as the light, you see house and nova as the light, naturally my brain said, the lighthouse has to be the favicon, right? And it also makes sense with what I'm here to do, is to share my light for people who are lost at sea and navigating the fog of conditioning and expectations. So that was where it generated from. Now, the term insight, or the word insight, was actually added last year because I wanted to make sure that it was understood when people refer to my brand's name, that it is insights that they're getting from my lived experiences, right? They're getting perspectives, they're getting all that good stuff. And I wanted to make sure it was conceptualized there. So there you got it. Well, to be honest, when I created House of Nova Insights, or HONI for short, I just wanted to create a container where I can come back to myself. And ultimately, I just wanted that process to then be served as an example for others who are also navigating similar life situations. My goal is not to be the latest expert, guru, life coach, teacher, whatever terminology is out there. That's why I make sure to refer to myself as the Lighthouse Keeper, because I'm maintaining my light. And that expression of my light, which is my responsibility, right? To share myself out there, is what's going to help the people, because of experiences of where I became the supporter friend and put myself in the back burner. I realized that, I can be supportive without being the support system, if that makes sense. And HONI is just that, is to allow my experiences and perspectives to do the work so then people can feel empowered to not use me as a source of the source of getting them through something, but to feel empowered to know that they can do it themselves. And while I've learned to end the cycle of self-abandonment, I'm still on the journey with you guys, because there's the whole process of rebuilding oneself after the fact, right? And this is why I don't want to claim to be an expert and stuff, because I'm learning just like y'all, and I just want to share that process with you all. And I do that through what I call Fresnel lenses, right? In a real lighthouse, a Fresnel lens is the actual circular lens that goes right in front of the light source, and it helps condense the light so then it could pierce through the fog and get to the ships out at sea. And I thought that was such a good term to use as a metaphor for what I do, because I have a very multifaceted nature of self-expression, and all those things are my light source, but we do need to contain it and condense it. So I have 4 in particular. The first one is the Keeper's Log. This is more of a day-to-day, not really day-to-day, but, it's a more in real-time process where I share my perspectives and insights that I gain. Then I have my esoteric tools that I've utilized to help give me the permission to start exploring myself and, move beyond attaching my worth to things like work and people and relationships, etc. Then I have crochet, which I actually have a piece on, and then I made. This is where I just get to express myself creatively with things that I can wear, or with novelty crochet. And I have music, which is the more intimate one of all 3, because this is where I get to express my emotional release in a very healthy way. And, I found a skill set where I'm an empath, so I do absorb a lot of the emotional energy that is around me, and sometimes it gets stuck in my body and it requires a form of release, and I found that music is the most effective one. So yeah, those are my 4 lenses. And then the way I offer support for people who come to find support. Hello. I offer reflective sessions. This is where I get to take all my skill sets developed honestly from survival mode, where I was the therapist friend a lot in my social circles, and I learned how to actively attune and listen to the deeper needs of an individual. And I found my skill sets of being able to use that to find patterns in conditioning that leads to people not following their truth, and how I'm able to then reframe it in a way that people can see it a little differently. And it seems to have helped so far. I've done it for free, so, I got a good amount of practice. The people that tend to navigate towards my light are individuals that I call wayfarers. And this is just a cool term that I found that means a traveler that goes from place to place. And I felt like it described the individuals pretty well, because when I see the archetypes of individuals that come to me, they're normally navigating emotional overwhelm. They feel a misalignment within their relationships or the work environment or any kind of environment. Honestly, they're either overthinking or very reactive because they're stuck in survival mode. They're stuck in conditional thought patterns, generational thought patterns, and they're at a point in their life where they've reached a crossroad where they're starting to realize, damn, these things that I've learned from childhood, the things that I'm holding on because of my culture, because of certain expectations, no longer serve me. And it's starting to greatly impact me as an adult. And I don't resonate with these things anymore. So I need to do something. Like, they can't avoid that truth. They know it. They feel it. But then they're kind of a little stuck because they're like, I don't know how to move forward. I don't know where to go. There's too much fog to see. So what I do is just share my perspectives, and what ends up happening is that they get to see that, oh, somebody was able to do something very similar to what I'm navigating. There's hope for me. And yeah, what I've noticed consistently with people that I help or people who allow me to share my light with them is that whenever I share things that they may have gone through that is similar to my perspective, or reframe based off of what I'm hearing intuitively, they get what I deem as an aha moment, where they start to see it clearly. It's kind of like, a sailor on the sea navigating the fog. They see the light and they're like, there it is. There it is. The hope, the thing that I'm looking for is land, And from that point on, I start to notice that people are more comfortable speaking their truth with conviction, and they don't censor themselves no more. From there, momentum happens. They start to do things that are actually aligned with who they are, whether it's within work environments, with familial dynamics, friendships, relationships, you name it, because these people, they come from all parts of experiences, right? And ultimately, they end up developing a healthy sense of self-worth, and they feel the abundance and the nurturing from that. And a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful story I would love to share with you guys, because I know this video is getting so long, so bear with me. But I had an individual that came to me where they wanted to work on trying to figure out their work situation. They wanted to build a nonprofit specifically for the LGBTQAI plus community. And she specifically wanted to do it for people within her culture because there's a very nuanced experience that she has. We started talking, we started analyzing her past patterns and things that is preventing her from living that out now, because we saw that she was investing in things that kind of, sort of, not really led to the direction that she was trying to head towards. And what I ended up finding was she wanted to stand firm to help these people, but she wasn't even embodying her own truth in her own life. And, I suggested to her one little thing. I helped her write out the bio for her Instagram because I noticed, okay, if you're going to go forward with this, you have to start implementing it in little ways, starting now. And, her bio just had the flags to represent that that's who she sides with, right? But it didn't describe the type of people that she helps, or like it wasn't standing in conviction. So I helped her write out the bio, and she did. Leaves, comes back a few months later, and she leaves me such a beautiful, beautiful message where I started crying because she thanks me. She's like, Liz, thank you so much for your help and for sharing yourself with me. I ended up finding out that people in my family already kind of suspected that I was in the community, but they were afraid to initiate that kind of conversation with me. And it turned out that she had so many family members who were also a part of the community, liking content on Instagram out loud. They were so accepting. People that she actually thought in her family wouldn't be accepting were actually even more accepting than she expected. And that's just one of many stories I've heard from people where I've helped them to honor their own light within. And it's just, I don't know, it's just such a beautiful experience. I love it. Like, that's something that moves me greatly. The whole premise of House of Nova Insights is to make sure that I am sharing my light. So then whoever needs to find it, whoever needs to find the empowerment, feel it, and embody it, they have that light source to give them that kind of hope. And that it's safe to be who you are. I guess this is also a testament for all those times when I put myself in the same predicaments of allowing people that weren't in alignment with me to tell me that who I was, what I want to do is not enough, or that I need to do it in a certain way. I'm honoring that version of myself. I am actually giving myself a me for me in real time. And I'm bringing you guys in on the journey. So then whoever wayfarers on the sea of life are navigating what y'all navigating can see the light that I'm sharing as a way to also hold hope and know that, you got this, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I say all that to say this is House of Nova, the who, the what, the why. And if you feel like you're somebody who needs a little extra support finding your way, you're always welcome. So, yeah.